Hey, good morning, Rami. How you doing, my brother? It's hump day, Wednesday.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I knew that you weren't going to come up here to debate because I'm like, I know her.
So I saw you pop up in my host box and I wasn't sure if that was you like doing that or if that was TikTok. I was like, he might be doing his own live right now. But I'm so glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too. How you been?
Good. We're in Montana. I'm sitting on my front porch. I freaking own a house. Holy cow. Um, it was the longest drive of my entire life. And I woke up this morning feeling like a train literally hit me.
So you just moved there, right?
Yeah, so Monday is when we got here.
Oh, are you near like Snake River or um, the backwoods area? More in the country or closer to the city?
Country for sure. I'm in a city called Lewistown, which has a population of like 6,000 people.
Wow.
So it's very small. The next town next to me, the next closest town is an hour and a half away.
Okay.
So yeah, we're we're in the middle of nowhere.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
So did you move out there on your own, or did you go out um, with a family, boyfriend, or?
Oh no, it's just me and my son and my mother, she drove my car for me though,
Oh, cool.
and then I drove the U-Haul and then on Sunday she flies back to Seattle.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
gonna go upstairs really quick to be able to plug in my phone.
well, hey, I was going to do some reading. Can I come? Can I have you come back up afterwards?
Absolutely. Or
Yeah.
or I can just like I would love to hear your reading actually,
Y-
if that's
Yeah,
okay.
sounds good because I had you because I made a note, and I kid you not, I'm like, okay, one of these lives I'm going to have spiritual empath come up here as a guest.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Here I am.
That's
How
great.
many people do you have in your live right now?
There's five, but I usually get around 30 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me bring you up after I go through a series of readings, and
Okay.
then you could tell us more about you.
That sounds fabulous. I would love that.
Are you in touch with Tyler still?
Yeah, I actually just talked to him last night.
Oh,
What's
good.
funny is Monday, obviously is the day that I moved here, and he called me and I was just so busy, right, that I couldn't answer his phone call. And then he called me again, and I felt really bad
Mm,
because I know that he was probably worried because it was such a long drive. But him and I have been become like just such good friends. Like we align so much on the same like spiritual principles and we definitely have a lot of philosophical talks and I think that him and I know that I don't want to go in uh to too much detail because I know that you have your live to do, but yeah, I am still in contact with him.
okay. Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks for coming up, man. It's always good to see you. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody, follow Spiritual Impact.
Yes.
Beautiful spiritual soul right here. Okay, my sister. I'll
Okay,
talk to you
I'll talk to
soon.
you soon.
Okay. I don't know how to remove this.
I will do it.
Okay.
I it took me the longest time to figure it out,
Right.
but I will disconnect it. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, my sister.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye. Spiritual Empath. Be sure to follow her. She's of like mind. A very beautiful soul. Okay. I have the three books because I get asked all the time, what are some of the books that you recommend? Okay. Um, all of these books are written by Paramahansa Yogananda, who's my guru. He founded the Self Realization Fellowship in 1920. We believe in the original teachings of Christ and the esoteric teachings of yoga, which originated from Hinduism, 15,000 BC, and is very much alive and well today. More and more people are beginning to turn towards the scientific techniques of meditation. That's the only way one is going to be able to directly commune with God. There's no other way. You know, prayers are good, doing good works for others is good. You know, if you go to a church every Sunday and if you're really sincere in your faith, that's good. But regardless of what faith you follow, Yogananda says the only way to be able to commune with God and Christ is through meditation. There's no other way. There's no other way. Because what does that do for us? It allows us to go inside, like the Bible says the kingdom of God is within. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." The, the only way to receive Christ is meditation. Because Yogananda says that when we meditate deeply, daily, more and more, we begin to now improve our intuition more and more. And, and our intuition is guided by our soul. And once we begin to develop soul guided intuition more and more, that's when you begin to feel God in a far greater way. There's no other way. There's no other way. You know, it's perfectly fine to remain a Christian. There's nothing wrong with you being a Christian. But if you really want to feel what you hear every Sunday at your Sunday service, if you want to feel more of the ministry of Jesus, then you have to go inside. You can't use the reason or intellect. You know, to be able to understand the Bible, you have to go inside. And this has been the scientific way of becoming free from this world for thousands and thousands of years. Hinduism and Buddhism are very much alive and well today, as they were very much alive and well when Jesus came. Okay? And meditation is the key. That's the comforter. Jesus said, I will send the comforter. And that's you beginning to incorporate meditation, which is going to allow you to interiorize and go inside and begin to become more in tune with your soul. You're never going to get there if you're just going to go to a service every Sunday and then read the scriptures and then don't do any of the work. Rami 300 says, I mostly meditate and question things while walking or sitting alone. Is that okay? Your thoughts? That's perfectly fine. Talk to God with the language of your heart, Yogananda says. So, I love what Rami said. I mostly meditate and question things while walking or sitting alone. That is a beautiful form of going inside. So, Rami, you're doing it right, my friend. You're doing it right. Hey, Darren. Oh, I got a moderator in here. It's going to get a little spicy this morning. Oh, no, thank you, Rami, for sharing that. You know, to my Christian friends, if it was so simple just to say a prayer of Jesus, I know you resurrected. I know you took away my sins. I believe in you. And then afterwards, you're saved. You know, all your karma is gone. You know, all you have to do is kick back, wait until you die, and then off you go into one of the mansions, because he says in my Father's kingdom are many mansions, and you get to move into a mansion and you're free and clear. Why do we have so many words in the Bible? Why do we have so many verbs in your Bible? Why so many action items? Why does the Bible say seek and ye shall find? Isn't seeking a verb? Yes or no? So, help me understand. If you think that you are saved just by simply saying the prayer, Lord Jesus, I know you died for my sins and you resurrected. Instead of saying that, why does the Bible say seek and ye shall find? What is it that you have to find? You don't have to do anything, right? You said the prayer, so you're saved. And this is where I challenge my Christian friends. This is where I challenge my Christian friends. I was reading about Carl Jung's shadow work. It's talk about ways to master on self. Yes, he was a very enlightened soul. He was a very enlightened soul, man. So this book has a lot of verbs in it. It has a lot of verbs in it. Why aren't you doing the work? Why aren't you doing the work? You know, it's predominantly true, and it's a fact that man always wants to try to find the easy way out of things, right? If we didn't have to work, I mean, how many of us would not work? If we if we were given the chance to gain all kinds of money and everything, and all of our obligations are completely offloaded to somebody else, a lot of us would say, hey, sign me up for that, right? So of course one is going to be so enamored with, hey, all I have to do is say this prayer and I'm saved. I don't have to do anything else. I'm saved. Right? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Because if it didn't that way, then Jesus would have never said, seek and ye shall find. He would have just said, hey, say this prayer, say this one simple prayer, and now I'm going to go back to heaven, and you don't have to do anything else. I'll make sure that my disciples write down on a tablet or scroll this very simple prayer that all you have to say, and you're free forever. And then now I'm going to go die on that cross, and I'll see you later. Does that make sense? I mean, seriously. So when I come across these lives, especially the African American gentlemen, and I have a lot of friends who are African American and who are Christian and Islam or Muslim, but there's this one African American gentleman. I forget his name. He has the banner behind him of the lion, and he's preaching everything, and he's trying to get everyone to say that prayer to save them. And he comes across and he says, okay, now you all be with me right now. All you have to do is say this one prayer, and you're saved. And you're saved. And what's amazing, and I don't know if he realizes it or not, but he reiterates verses from the Bible that show that you have to do some work. He doesn't realize that he's quoting scriptures that imply that you need to do some work in order to find God. But he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it. Because he's coming from the intellect. He's coming from the mind. All right? When Jesus directed his apostles to go out and to preach the gospel, those apostles were already one with Jesus. Where was their consciousness at? They were able to heal the sick. Jesus wanted only those who were in communion with God all the time to be able to go out and spread his message. Not for anyone who just, hey, my friend took me to Sunday services and I'm just now beginning to read the Bible. Hey, yeah, let me go out onto the corner here. And so far what I've learned, I'm going to grab a megaphone and I'm going to say it out to everybody in traffic. That's not what Jesus wanted people to do. Because the guy who's going out there on the corner on the street with a megaphone, he can't heal the sick. He can't raise the dead. Jesus only wanted those who were in tune with God to be able to go out. And here we have a lot of these preachers and these pastors at your Sunday service who couldn't resurrect a fly. And all they're doing from the mind and from their reason, not from soul-guided intuition, from their pseudo soul, just reiterating what's in the Bible. That's the hypnotic delusion that's been propagated for 20 centuries. And sadly, that is very much here in the West. That's why there are so many denominations in Christianity. So, I reposted a video, and then after I say this, I'm going to start looking at the second volume of the Second Coming of Christ. I highly recommend, because I get asked all the time, what are you reading from? These 3 books right here, all written by Yogananda. I reposted a video. It's the gentleman with the long blonde hair. He's talking about the Gospel of Mary and the Gospel of Thomas. Do you know why the Gospel of Thomas was not to be included in the canon? Because it shared a lot of the mysteries that Jesus shared with his closest disciples. And those weren't to be included in this Bible. Let me just share this with you. Oh. Give me just a second. These are just some of the writings from the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, "Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all." Jesus said, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you and is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty." Why wasn't that in the scriptures? Why wasn't that in the Bible? Let me read this again. This is the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, if those who lead you say, see, the kingdom is in the sky, it's in the heavens, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. How pivotal is that? No wonder why Irenaeus and the emperor didn't want this to get out there in the open. You imagine the uprising? Jesus said, now this is amazing. Jesus said, recognize what is in your sight, and that which is hidden from you will become plain to you. For there is nothing hidden which will not become manifest. What's hidden? Recognize what is in your sight, spiritual eye. Matthew 6:22, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. This is the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, Jesus said, I shall give you what no eye has seen, and what no ear has heard, and what no hand has touched, and what has never occurred to the human mind. This is some pretty deep stuff. He's basically disclosing a lot of the mysteries that Jesus spoke about. The disciples said to Jesus, tell us how our end will be. Jesus said, have you discovered then the beginning, that you look for the end? For where the beginning is, there will the end be. Blessed is he who will take his place in the beginning. He will know the end and will not experience death. Now, what does it mean to no more experience death? That means having to reincarnate again into another body. And then in that body, you experience death again. And then you reincarnate again. And you go through life, and then you die, so you experience death again, and again, and again. Jesus said, "Blessed is he who came into being before he came into being." If you become my disciples and listen to my words, these stones will minister to you. For there are 5 trees for you in paradise which remain undisturbed summer and winter, and whose leaves do not fall. Whoever becomes acquainted with them will not experience death. Mary said to Jesus, "Whom are your disciples like?" He said, "They are like children who have settled in a field which is not theirs. When the owners of the field come, they will say, 'Let us have back our field.' They will undress in their presence in order to let them have back their field and to give it back to them. Therefore I say, if the owner of a house knows that the thief is coming, he will begin his vigil before he comes, and will not let him dig through into his house of his domain to carry away his goods. You, then, be on your guard against the world. Arm yourselves with great strength, lest the robbers find a way to come to you. For the difficulty which you expect will surely materialize. Let there be among you a man of understanding. When the grain ripened, he came quickly with his sickle in his hand and reaped it. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear." That's pretty deep. Jesus saw 2 infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, "These infants being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom." They said to him, "Shall we then, as children, enter the kingdom?" Jesus said to them, "When you make the 2 one, and when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male nor the female, and when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in place of a hand, and a foot in place of a foot, and a likeness in a place of likeness, then will you enter the kingdom of heaven." Wow. Wow. His disciples said to him, "Show us the place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it." He said to them, "Whoever has ears, let them hear. There is light within a man of light, and he lights up the whole world. If he does not shine, he is darkness." Jesus said, "I took my place in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in flesh. I found them all intoxicated. I found none of them thirsty, and my soul became afflicted for the sons of men, because they are blind in their hearts and do not have sight. For empty they came into the world, and empty too they seek to leave the world. But for the moment they are intoxicated. When they shake off their wine, then they will repent. This is Jesus saying that we came into this world. We weren't created in this world. We came into this world. Yeah, wow. Jesus said, the Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge, which is gnosis, and hidden them. They themselves have not entered, nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. You, however, be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. This is Jesus saying to be wise as serpents. What's the serpent? It's the Kundalini energy in our spine, right?
Conversation.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Take better notes, right?
Hello?
You would be personally involved and invested.
Hey, how you doing, B-Turn?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, I think we have an echo.
Let me see if I can fix that. Is that better?
Let me see. Oh, there's still an echo.
Let's see. Um,
Oh, where'd you go? Oh, okay. Okay, so I just wanted to share this, a little of the Gospel of Thomas. So I think most of you saw the video that I posted. Well, actually, posted the video of the gentleman. He had the long blonde hair, and he's talking about the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Thomas. Those Gospels were not to be included, and that was all because of the nefarious endeavors of the Orthodox Church wanting to control, wanting to say that one can only find salvation through the church. That is historical fact. This is not a claim that cannot be backed up by facts. This is a claim that is factual. It's factual. And now, it came in the news yesterday, archaeologists have discovered that Christianity and paganism were being worshipped at the same time. Constantine accepted the worshiping of paganism. And that just came out. Google it. Archaeologists found a temple during the time of Constantine and before the time where paganism was very much alive and well. It was much, much, much later when another like emperor came in or something and got away with paganism. And that was for nefarious reasons. But Christianity started much later than was previously believed to have started. And that just came out. So we're seeing how slowly but surely a lot of evidence is coming out, is coming to the forefront on just how the original teachings of Christ are coming to light more and more and more. That's no accident that the Nag Hammadi was found in Egypt in 1945. Do you know what they worship? Sun, moon? I don't really know a lot about paganism, but they followed a lot of metaphysical truths I have heard, but I can't go into specifics because I never really studied it. But it was mutually accepted back in the day, and they discovered a temple. This is going to blow a lot of minds. This is really going to blow a lot of Christian minds, because now they're going to discover that their religion was founded much later. Much later is when Christianity was founded. And that's going to shock a lot of people. But it's no accident. It's no accident that these truths are becoming discovered more and more. Mithraism was there too. Father Mithras. Yes. Yes. Yeah, Darren is right. Darren's correct. Darren's my moderator as well. Be sure to follow Darren. He's a shaman. He's a beautiful soul. So be sure to follow my moderator. Yes, Mithras. Okay. Second coming of Christ. What's it all about? It's based upon the four Gospels in the New Testament. Mark, Matthew, Luke, John. Yogananda, he only expounded upon the four Gospels, the metaphysical meaning behind the verses. He didn't really concentrate a lot on Leviticus or Jeremiah. He only focused on the four Gospels. And what's beautiful about this 2-volume set, it has these beautiful pictures of Christ beginning in the front of each of the chapters. So what's in the second volume? Well, let me share with you. I'm not going to read anything in a chapter. I'm just going to read the contents of the second volume. Jesus performs the miracle of the loaves and the fishes and walks on the Sea of Galilee. That's chapter 42. Chapter 43, the true, quote, bread of life. Chapter 44, the signs of the times. Jesus' works and words in the testimony of his special dispensation. Chapter 45, Peter's inspired recognition of the Christ and Jesus' transfiguration. Chapter 46, if ye have faith, nothing shall be impossible unto you. Chapter 47, the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, humble servants of all. Chapter 48, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off. That's going to be a deep chapter. Chapter 49, follow me. Further counsel from Jesus on inner and outer renunciation. Chapter 50, never man spake like this man. Chapter 51, I am the light of the world. Before Abraham was, I am. Chapter 52, I am the door. I am the good shepherd. I and my Father are one. Chapter 53, fulfilling the two greatest commandments. Chapter 54, an esoteric perspective on the Lord's Prayer. Chapter 55, Jesus condemns hypocrisy and self-serving judgment in religion and law. Chapter 56, God realization, the heavenly treasure of individuals and nations. Chapter 57, will few or the many find salvation? Jesus affirms the role of the guru in the disciples' liberation. Now we're going to understand Elijah and Elisha more. And the word guru, it means dispeller of darkness. Guru, G-U-R-U. Guru means dispeller of darkness. Chapter 58, Jesus' parables on humility and discipleship, and the parable of the prodigal son. Chapter 59, ye cannot serve God and mammon. The use and misuse of wealth. Chapter 60, I am the resurrection and the life. Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. Chapter 61, the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. 62, Jesus speaks of soul union as the original purpose of marriage. Chapter 63, exchanging temporal wealth for the riches of God's kingdom. Chapter 64, the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Chapter 65, Jesus teaches in the temple at Jerusalem for the last time. Chapter 66, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Chapter 67. Did Jesus prophesy his second coming and the end of the world? Oh, that's going to be a good one. Chapter 68. What Jesus meant by everlasting punishment. That's going to be a good one. Chapter 69. This do in remembrance of me. Wow, there's another action word. There's another verb. Do. Do what? Just simply say that prayer and then you're saved? Chapter 70. Love one another as I have loved you. Chapter 71. Abide in me, continue ye in my love. Chapter 72. Father, I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. Chapter 73. Jesus' agony in the Garden of Gethsemane and his arrest. Chapter 74. The crucifixion. And the last, chapter 75. Lo, I am with you always. So that's what's in volume 2. 7:30. Okay. Okay. Be turned. Where are you at? Are you still in here? I wanted to bring him up. Okay. So this is in the second coming. And so the first chapter, let me see here. Court Thatch. I wanted to bring you up, but you have 48 followers. Oh, this is on volume 2, Rami. We finished volume 1 yesterday. Court, yeah, go ahead and ask a question. You can never upset me. I may get animated and passionate and everything, but I never get upset. It's a waste of time. What's your question? While I'm waiting for her to ask, I could start on chapter 42 right now if you guys like, and then take on some guests or some questions in the comments. Or when you tried out for a collective soul, did you ask for autographs? I did not. They flew me down to LA. It was a partial day, and there were like 15 drummers before me, and I got like 30 minutes to go in there, and that was it. It was very brief. I've heard that Jesus wasn't crucified, that it's in the Ethiopian Bible or something. That's incorrect. Jesus was crucified. He was put on the cross. So I don't know why that would be in the Ethiopian Bible, but we believe that he was crucified. We believe that. And the original followers of Christ, the Gnostics, they also believed that he was crucified. And Yogananda says he was crucified. All you have read is referring to the Bible. What does that mean? You might be right in what you're saying. I want to make sure that what you're saying is clear for me. Yeah, Jesus was resurrected. He was resurrected, and he was on that cross. Because think about it. Let's think about this for a moment. If he wasn't on that cross, and if he wasn't resurrected, he pretty much wouldn't be well known today. That divine soul inside of Jesus would not have reverberated all throughout the centuries, right? He would just have been another mythical figure, right? He would have been a story. Right? But because Jesus is so much loved and revered and worshiped, and that actually precipitated due to he resurrecting and what he reverberated all throughout this creation. There is nothing that can dispute his crucifixion. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's look at the first chapter. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to at least get a start of it. Okay, yes, okay, good. Good. Because if he wasn't crucified, if he didn't resurrect, I don't think he would have been well known. He would have been just another guy 2,000 years ago who claimed he knew God and everything, and he walked all around Jerusalem, and he traveled the merchant routes and whatnot. And so he would have been an entry in the encyclopedia book. And that probably would have been the extent of him. But we know Jesus is a world savior. Even though we also believe in Hinduism, because we believe in meditation, we revere Jesus as a world savior because he came to show us the potential that we have inside of each and every one of us. And that's the beauty of Christ. That's the beauty of Christ. In every Christmas, we have an 8-hour meditation. We have a beautiful portrait of Christ in our temple with a beautiful garland of roses around him. And we have an 8-hour meditation on Christ. We have a half-hour break, but we sit literally for 7.5 hours and we meditate on Jesus. It's the most phenomenal thing. Okay, and we have Easter sunrise. We just had our Easter sunrise. So we follow Easter and Christmas. So that's Self-Realization Fellowship. Okay, chapter 42. Jesus performs the miracle of the loaves and the fishes and walks on the Sea of Galilee. And then, Pew, you're welcome, my sister. You are welcome. It is the truth. And you know what? My Christian friends are right. Jesus is the way back to God. But it was his Christ consciousness that he was referring to. Christ is the way back to God. Because we all have that Christ consciousness inside of us, but it's buried. It's hidden from us because we're in delusion. We are in a human body. We are subjected to the delusive forces of negative and positive duality. And until we learn how to raise up that consciousness, we are going to continue to exist in this world. So yes, Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody goes back home to God but through Christ. And that's inside of us. But we have to develop it. We have to develop it. Okay? Hey, Rosie. Good morning, my sister. Okay. So this is the summary of the chapter. Miracles, how masters work with subtle forces from the astral and causal planes of creation. Jesus' use of the powers of mind and life energy in feeding the 5,000. How was he able to manifest all that food for thousands of men? Is a vegetarian diet necessary for spiritual progress? Jesus' mastery over the electronic composition of matter and its relation to consciousness. This is why Jesus spoke in parables. This one right here. Jesus' mastery over the electronic composition of matter and its relation to consciousness. Hey, Honeybee. Thank you, my sister. I love your video. Everybody follow not only Darren, but also Honeybee. Honeybee, I'm on volume 2 now. I'm on page 807. And then finally, from material to divine consciousness, yoga in the mastery of the breath. Jesus spoke in parables. Because back then, the concept of life force energy wasn't known to the common man. Consciousness wasn't really known to the common man. Jesus spoke heavily. Thank you, Rosie. Jesus spoke heavily about consciousness and life force energy. When man understands scientifically the spiritual nature of creation and the mastery over its underlying laws possessed by illumined souls, he can accept not only the possibility of miracles, but that there are numerous ways by which they can be performed. Okay? Now we're going to look at chapter 42. These are based upon the verses from Matthew chapter 14, verse 1 through 3, verse 10, and verse 12 through 13, and also John chapter 6, verse 1 through 20, Matthew chapter 14, verse 28 through 33, and then finally from John chapter 6, verse 21. This is going to be a deep one. So I hope I have some Christians in this room. Let's first look at John, chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias, and a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles which he did on them and were diseased. And Jesus went up into a mountain, and there he sat with his disciples, and the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was nigh. When Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he saith unto Philip, Whence shall we buy bread, that these may eat? And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. Now, there's a footnote on the Sea of Tiberias. It says, after these things, the immediately preceding verses in St. John's Gospel recount the healing of the man at the pool of Bethsaida, discussed in chapter 21. Since then, nearly a year has passed, the events of which are not recorded in the book of John. Based on accounts in other Gospels, after these things may be read as referring to Jesus sending forth his disciples to preach the gospel, during which time John the Baptist was slain by Herod. The Sea of Galilee was also called the Sea of Tiberias, after the town by that name on its western shore. Okay, now we're going to look. And it continues. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, saith unto him, There is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But what are they among so many? And Jesus said, Make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, in number about 5,000. Wow, can you imagine that? And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. When they were filled, he said unto his disciples, Gather up the fragments that remained, that nothing be lost. Therefore they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. And there's a parallel reference from Luke, chapter 9, verses 10 through 17. And the apostles, when they returned, told him all that they had done. And he took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. And the people, when they knew it, followed him. And he received them, and spake unto them of the kingdom of God, and healed them that had need of healing. And when the day began to wear away, then came the 12 and said unto him, Send the multitude away, that they may go into the towns and country round about, and lodge, and get victuals, for we are here in a desert place. But he said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they said, We have no more but 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except we should go and buy meat for all of this people. For they were about 5,000 men. And he said to his disciples, Make them sit down by 50s in a company. And they did so, and made them all sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them, and brake, and gave to the disciples to set before the multitude. And they did eat, and were all filled. And there was taken up of fragments that remained to them 12 baskets. Now the metaphysical understanding of these verses. According to the physical laws governing the universe. Oh, thank you for the hat. According to the physical laws governing the universe, it would be impossible to apportion a meager 5 loaves and 2 fishes to satisfy the hunger of 5,000 people. How did Jesus perform this miracle? A miracle is a super law in operation. The effectual working of subtle powers from the manifesting principles of God's astral and causal realms of creation. How these subtle forces support and impinge on physical phenomena is unknown to ordinary persons. The incomprehensibility of the miracles recorded in the Bible thus reduces otherwise intelligent minds to blind dogmatism or scornful skepticism. But why should there be cause for doubt when nature, with a capital N, constantly excites man with new revelations? Rosie, I'm reading the 2nd volume from the Second Coming of Christ. We are now on the 2nd volume. We made it through the 1st volume. This is the book I'm reading right here. You can get that on Amazon or go to yogananda.org. Jesus prophesied, Greater works than these shall ye do. And there's a footnote on that. Verily, verily, I say unto you, that he that believeth on me, and in parentheses, becomes more attuned to the universal intelligence of Christ consciousness, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do. That's Jesus pretty much saying that you could become exactly like him. Okay? That you can become like him, not below him. You could even be greater than him. He knew that the law of cause and effect, which is karma, was created was creating in this world an evolution of consciousness through which future generations would possess in incremental measure the means to bring about accomplishments theretofore considered miraculous. Amazing advancement will be witnessed as this present ascending evolutionary cycle continues towards its apex, which is the yuga. The yugas. There are four. There's the Kali Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, the Treta Yuga, and the Sutra Yuga. The apex is the highest point in the 24,000 year cycle. And we are now ascending. We are still in Dwapara Yuga, but we're 3/4 of the way through it. We're heading into Treta Yuga. That's why we're seeing so much advancement going on. The light bulb, the industrial age, the nuclear age, the technology age, the light age. Now we're discovering how light is becoming more of a predominant modality for healing. So as we are ascending, greater advancements are going to be discovered. Scientific and spiritual knowledge will work more and more in harmony and ultimately in unity when humanity will gain the knowledge of the subtle laws that operate in the inner cosmos of consciousness. The spiritually evolved human being, gaining access to the microcosm of the spiritual I, dissolves delusions, vibratory boundaries, encapsulating the physical universe, and brings on earth the superphysical capabilities of heaven. Already many of Jesus' phenomenal feats can be deemed credible because of modern physics, at least in defining principles long known to masters who manipulate these cosmic formulas as easily as a scientist mixes elemental substances to create new compounds in his laboratory. Avant-gardes of science, true seers in their fields, have pried open the age-long sealed core of the sacrosanct grossness of matter to reveal its electromagnetic structure, and to glimpse the startling wonders of matter sublimated into scintillas of light metamorphosing into consciousness, mind stuff. And no wonder why quantum physics recently discovered that when you go below the atom, they discovered what? A force of vibration. The vibratory word, the Holy Ghost. What impresses our senses as matter is really a great concentration of energy into a comparatively small space. Yogananda said this in 1930. Quantum physics just confirmed it recently. Writes Professor Einstein. And the renowned astrophysicist Sir Arthur Stanley Eddington explains, quote, "The world we see and experience in everyday life is simply a convenient mirage attuned to our very limited senses, an illusion conjured by our perceptions and our mind. all that is around us, and in parentheses, including our own bodies, which appears so substantial, is ultimately nothing but ephemeral networks of particle waves whirling around at lightning speed, colliding, rebounding, disintegrating into almost total emptiness. So-called matter is mostly emptiness, proportionally as void as intergalactic space, void of anything except occasional dots and spots and scattered electric charges. This is from Cambridge University. The Mysterious Universe. Cambridge University physicist Sir James Jeans declares, quote, "Today there is a wide measure of agreement, which on the physical side of science approaches almost to unanimity, that the stream of knowledge is heading toward a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears as an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We are beginning to suspect that we ought rather to hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. Not, of course, our individual minds, but the mind in which the atoms out of which our individual minds have grown to exist as thoughts. The old dualism of mind and matter seems likely to disappear, not through matter becoming in any way more shadowy or insubstantial than heretofore, or through mind becoming resolved into a function of the working of matter, but through substantial matter resolving itself into a creation and manifestation of mind. To put the conclusion crudely, the stuff the world is mind stuff, Eddington summarizes. Boldly forthright about the limitations of merely material investigations, he has written, quote, "In regard to the nature of things, scientific knowledge is only an empty shell, a form of symbols. It is knowledge of structural form, and not knowledge of content. All through the physical world runs that unknown content which must surely be the stuff of our consciousness. Here is a hint of aspects deep within the world of physics, and yet unattainable by the methods of physics." And there's a footnote on this. Space, time, and gravitation. An outline of the general relativity theory, Cambridge University Press, 1920, is as follows. Speaking about methods of attaining a deeper insight into the nature than that afforded by material sciences, Professor Brian D. Josephson of Cambridge University, winner of the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1973, commended that ancient Hindu systems of philosophy, Vedanta and Shankaya, hold the key to the laws of mind and thought process, which are correlated to a quantum field. The operation and distribution of particles at atomic and molecular levels. Wow. No wonder why Jesus spoke in parables, right? Who would have understood this 2,000 years ago? When man understands scientifically the spiritual nature of creation and the mastery over its underlying laws possessed by illumined souls, he could accept not only the possibility of miracles, but that there are numerous ways by which they could be performed, as noted in the various modes of healing employed by Jesus. As to feeding the 5,000, one of the methods Jesus would have found effective is mental suggestion or mass hypnosis. A very powerful mind can impose on the mental processes of a crowd a belief in any suggested phenomena. Those who fall under such influence do not become unconscious in all their other faculties and areas of reason, but are susceptible only to the particular suggestion of the hypnotist. If someone with very powerful magnetism impresses on a hungry person the positive thought that his stomach is full and his appetite satisfied, the feeling of hunger will vanish. Professor James of Harvard demonstrated that it is possible to produce actual blisters on the skin by power of hypnotic suggestion. Mind is the main mechanism in the body. Once the mind becomes convinced about a thing, the body reacts accordingly. So Jesus, with his tremendous willpower, could have used mass hypnosis to satisfy the hunger of the 5,000, and I doubt that even he considered it. Jesus instructed his disciples to see that the people were comfortably seated on the grass-carpeted ground, from which they would receive some magnetism of the earth. Wow, isn't that interesting? Electromagnetic field. Jesus then took the loaves and fishes and gave thanks to God. Quote, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them. He charged the offering of food with condensed cosmic energy drawn from the astral region through his spiritual eye, so that even small portions were a satisfying meal. By his magnetic energy, Jesus also charged the partakers of the repast with magnetism, so that the cosmic energy he cast into the hungry stomachs of the multitudes opened the sluice gates of the reservoirs of energy in their brains and flesh, assuring no dearth of satisfaction. After the miracle, the disciples gathered up and filled 12 baskets with leftover morsels. Evidence that Jesus actually materialized additional bread and fishes even as the blessed food was being distributed. Though bread is made by man and fish is caught by him from the ocean or lake, the wheat and the fish and all things were originally special creations by God, brought into being by his divine will and cosmic creative energy. While science has proved the quiddity of the universe as electromagnetic radiations coalesced into various forms, it has yet to devise instruments subtle enough to register the underlying source of electromagnetic phenomena, finer than atomic astral life energy and even finer thoughttrons, vibrations of an infinite consciousness. Masters such as Jesus know creation as God knows it, and can manipulate intelligent cosmic energy to create at will any desired effect from its primal cause. Now, this was written in the 1930s. Recently, vibration was actually discovered, but Yogananda mentions vibration is yet to be discovered, and they discovered it. In dreams, the mind of every person uses thought and life energy to become a prolific creator. Dreams are condensed thoughts made visible by the life energy withdrawn from the sensory organs into the brain during sleep. In the world created in his dream state, a sleeper can plant wheat, raise it, harvest it, grind it, and bake it into bread. He could eat of the dreamed bread, taste it, feel its fresh texture in its mouth. But all things in that dream, the seed, the soil, the oven, the bread, the body that eats and enjoys it, are only modifications of the dreamer's consciousness. Suppose a person dreams of 5,000 people and only has 5 dream loaves of bread to feed them. If he has the power of conscious dreaming, he can command his mind, quote, "Since these 5 loaves are only materializations of my thoughts, I shall multiply them by visualization until I have adequate to serve all the people." To produce dreams consciously at will is one of the first powers attained by the advancing yogi. An accomplished master perceives how God has condensed his creative thoughts to produce all phenomenon in this dream world. By the cosmic hypnosis of Maya, which is delusion or Satan, has suggested those dreams so powerfully to our human consciousness that we accept the cosmic chimera as material reality. I'm just going to read a little bit more, and then I'll bring up a guest if somebody wants to come up. Jesus had the power to condense his thoughts not only as visible mental images, as does an ordinary dreamer, but as material dream realities, even as God does. By the command of his divinely attuned will, he could cause the cosmic energy to condense into electrons, protons, atoms, and molecules of any kind, of any density and specific gravity, and formed into whatsoever he willed. After his crucifixion, he recreated his body. Thus, it was a simple matter for him to create a few more loaves of bread. The process is the same. He had only to command electromagnetic radiations to multiply the food as the 5,000 people were consuming it. Such feats can be done by anyone who has complete mastery of the mind. Mind is everything. If a small eyedropper were connected to a large reservoir of water, the eyedropper would continuously drip 1 drop of water at a time. Thousands of persons could drink of that water, even though the water came in tiny drops, but continuously. The 5 loaves and 2 fishes, broken up into tiny fragments, were charged continuously with the replicating power of the creative lifeltronic energy drawn by Jesus from the infinite reservoir of the astral realm, morsel by morsel, until all were fed. From the story of the loaves and the fishes, we see also the practicality and precision of Jesus, who always looked to the comfort of the people. Lest anyone be bypassed in the disarray of the throng during the distribution of the food, he had his disciples divide the multitude by fifties throughout the grassy area. In instructing his disciples to gather up all the remnants after everyone had eaten, he was not only stressing hold on. Dry mouth. Sorry about that. I gotta remember to drink. Okay, where was I? Okay, economy. Okay, here we go. In instructing his disciples to gather up all the remnants after everyone had eaten, he was not only stressing economy and not wasting bounty given by God, but also citing the reverence with which one should treat blessed food, referred to in India as prashad, which on this occasion was a special creation of God. And there's a footnote on this. The Gospels relate a recurrence of this miracle when Jesus later fed 4,000 people with 7 loaves and a few fishes. This is in Matthew chapter 15, verse 32 through 39, and Mark chapter 8, verse 1 through 9. Okay, moving on. It is evident that according to the custom and food supply of the time, Jesus did not sponsor strict vegetarianism. The cultivation of fruits, grains, and vegetables was relatively sparse in the desert places where he preached. His mission on earth did not require him to be a nutritionist, but to saturate people with God consciousness. It is true that those who are yet in the developmental stage of spiritual discipline ought to favor a vegetarian diet. But to great masters who have attained God consciousness, dietary restrictions have little meaning. They see the whole world as nothing but the manifestation of God's ideas. To them, all forms of physical experiences are but the different acts of consciousness under the influence of the cosmic dream. To the man of realization, the very consciousness of given reality to any form of diet is delusion. He who has awakened from the dreamed delusion of the cosmos realizes he is spirit. His mortal body and its physical experiences existing only as amorphous ideas of consciousness. Nevertheless, the various forms of diet and their dissimilar effects on the body should not be rashly denied. Theorizing about the delusive nature of the body while simultaneously supporting the delusion by gratifying hunger and engaging in other activities that reinforce body consciousness is quite incongruous. When an individual achieves spiritual ecstasy and God contact, there will be no vitation of his realization that the universe with all his experiences in God's dreaming through him, until the spiritual aspirant reaches that state of release from all delusive compulsions. he needs to lead a life of spiritual discipline, observing the more healthful vegetarian diet and other health maintaining behaviors to keep the body fit for meditation and spiritual service to God. Persons who claim to possess the realization of sainthood and on those false credentials flout the ordinary rules of a solitary physical and spiritual life are courting an inescapable rebuff from the karmic law. Jesus had said before that he, the bridegroom, the divine master, and his disciples did not need to fast for spiritual purification from the consciousness of the body, as they were already saturated with transcendental consciousness. But he also added that when his physical presence would be taken away, the disciples would have to adhere to a life of stricter discipline in order to retain attunement with his spiritual vibrations. Great teachers adopt the lifestyle and some of the customs of the place and time in which they incarnate. It does not mean that every detail of their way of life is forever sanctified for all generations to follow. Some persons reason, quote, Jesus partook of meat and wine, therefore I should do the same. But I say to them, first become like Jesus, then whatever you ingest in that consciousness is pure spirit, and as such will have no ill effects. For non-illumined, body-bound persons, a diet reliant on animal products contributes heavily to many sicknesses, including heart disease and cancer. It is detrimental to physical, psychological, and spiritual health. If people were to follow a proper vegetarian diet, many of the fatal diseases most prevalent in modern civilization would be gone. Whatever diet people follow, their prayer and affirmation should be, quote, Heavenly Father, teach us to realize that we live by thy consciousness, that birthless and deathless, we are waves of thine infinite ocean of life, of thine immortal energy and immutable consciousness. I'm going to hold there. Let me see. I'm going to bring up my friend, Christian Jude.
But I was just gonna let you know, next time you come through, I'm gonna get my mom to grab a couple checks from the warehouse today. And next time you come to cut, I'll have you a check for the first bill that you sent me.
You going to send me a check?
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and send me that other one, and then I'll.
Let me give you some advice.
Uh-huh.
You want to listen?
Absolutely. What you got?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, I think he's on a call. Okay, let me, I'm just going to read a quatrain from Wine of the Mystic from our Sufi friends, which is a facet of Islam. Okay, the way that this reads, this is the quatrain, and this is the glossary. This is the spiritual interpretation, and then we have an actual application. All right. So let me read this one. It's very short. It's not long. So the quatrain reads, now the new year reviving old desires. The thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bow puts out, and Jesus from the ground surprises. Let me reread that again. Now the new year reviving old desires, the thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bow puts out, and Jesus from the ground surprises. What does that mean? That's pretty deep. Let's look at the glossary. New year, meaning new dawn of wisdom. Old desires, meaning the age-old longing of the soul in quest of spirit. The thoughtful soul, meaning the soul that reasons and discriminates. And there's a footnote on this one. Let me read that. Strictly speaking, the soul being a pure reflection of spirit is all-knowing and has no need to reason or discriminate. But during incarnation, the soul takes on delusion of separation from spirit. As wisdom begins to dawn in man through the natural upward evolution of his reason and discrimination, the soul's all-knowing faculty of intuition stirs and directs these powers within to discover intuitively the eternal presence of spirit. So that's the footnote. Okay, now I'm back on the glossary. Solitude, the inner silence of spiritual consciousness. White hand, purified consciousness. Bow, universal wisdom, Christ consciousness. Ground, the cosmic delusion of mortality. So let me read the quatrain again. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Tass. I appreciate you, brother. So let me read this again. Now the new year is reviving old desires. New year meaning new dawn of wisdom. The thoughtful soul to solitude retires. Oh, thank you, Rosie. Old desires, meaning the age-old longing of the soul in quest of spirit. The thoughtful soul to solitude retires. The thoughtful soul, meaning the soul that reasons and discriminates. Solitude, meaning the inner silence of spiritual consciousness, where the white hand of Moses on the bow, the white hand, meaning a purified consciousness, puts out, and Jesus from the ground surprises. The ground, meaning the cosmic delusion of mortality. Okay, that's the quatrain. Now we're going to look at the spiritual interpretation of this. The awakening of new wisdom in man revives old divine desires of the soul to a quest for God, and the introspecting and discriminating soul retires to the inner solitude of silence. That inner stillness in which the purified consciousness of Moses touched the bow of wisdom, and Jesus, quickened by its breath of immortality, awoke and rose from the entombing sod of delusion. You want me to read that one again? I can. Let me know. Yes? Okay. This is the spiritual interpretation. Now, this is Sufism. This is a facet of Islam. The awakening of new wisdom in man revives old divine desires of the soul to quest for God. And the introspecting and discriminating soul retires to the inner solitude of silence. Oh, no worries, Christian. I tried to bring you up, but you were on the phone. That inner stillness in which the purified consciousness of Moses touched the bow of wisdom. And Jesus, quickened by its breath of immortality, awoke and rose from the entombing sod of delusion. Now, this is the practical application of this. When wisdom dawns on you, awakening the desire to understand the mystery of your soul, don't put it off. Retire to the inner sanctum sanctorum of silent peace, wherein all great souls have entered, by the gate of meditation and found wisdom and emancipation. The thirst for understanding can be quenched only by drinking new wisdom daily from the well of discrimination. The burning desires of incarnations are alleviated only by soothing dews of peace collected in the deep bowl of solitude. Oh, thank you, honeybee. Moses, Jesus, you, and I, all beings, can find the ever sought for solace in the silence of the soul. This quatrain has also a mundane significance. The advent of a new year revives old desires to succeed on the path of life. Most individuals fail to garner the rare wild blossoms of success because they do not deeply deliberate and search long enough to discover where they lie hidden in the forest of difficulties. Everyone who seeks success, even as great men have sought it and found fulfillment, should retire often into the silence and introspect on his problems. By discrimination and meditation, he can make his mind receptive to the intuitive guidance of the soul and plan his life accordingly. The problems that have seemed insoluble will unravel their mysteries in the nook of solitary thoughtfulness. Isn't that beautiful? What I love about this book as well is it has these beautiful pictures of our Sufi brothers and sisters. Sufism, Omar Khayyam, Islam, a beautiful religion. My Muslim friends are very spiritual. They should never be disregarded. They should never, ever be mocked. There are fanatics in all religions. One of my good friends is a Muslim, Malik. He's a beautiful soul. So Muhammad, Omar Khayyam, the greatness of Islam is alive and well today, and it's going to be alive and well for millenniums to come. Because God is in everything. God created everything. That's the beauty of God, is He is in everything. Okay? Islam. And for my Christian friends, for those who like to reiterate, well, they want to kill the infidels, the non-believers. No. What my true Muslim brother and sister, when they say that, it's to kill the bad habits inside of us. That's the infidel. Okay? And it's very sad that we have these fanatical groups like ISIS and Al Qaeda who take those beautiful verses and twist them around because they are coming from the intellect and not from the soul. And so they interpret that they have to physically murder the non-believers. They couldn't be any more further from the truth. This is why I implore my Christian friends and Catholic friends, get a fundamental understanding of Islam. To kill the infidels means to get rid of that which is inside of each and every one of us that keeps us separated from God. That's what that means. Okay? All right. What's up, brother? You're muted.
On the phone as soon as you pull me back up. But man, it's good to hear from you, man. Spreading that good truth. What are you reading from today?
I'm reading from The Wine of the Mystic. It's by Omar Khayyam.
Okay.
It's written by
All
Yogi
right, all right.
Berra.
I really like the part. I
What's
got
that say
you.
again?
All right. I was curious because it seemed to have some good words in it. Said I was curious. It seemed to have some good words in it. But I like the part where it even talked about, once you actually achieve, that God state of mind, that true perception. Well, we're really eliminating the fact of perception. You're now utilizing both masculine and feminine. You flip the 6 to the 9, so you're using full brain power, and you no longer perceive improperly. You actually perceive properly what's actually in front of you with no error. But and I like the part where it even says something about we should eat a herbivore diet unless you have gained that level of thought. Because I still drink my coffee, I still eat chicken and stuff, and I tell myself it's like I try not to eat these things, but then again, it's like, man, it's like I already understand. I don't think I'm going anywhere. If I'm going further, I'm going further every day. It doesn't matter what I drink or eat at this point at all, in any way, shape, or form. But now to the people just getting in, absolutely cleanse the body so the body can harmonize with the mind can harmonize with the heart, and it can actually start to ascend. But until that takes place, and honestly, my spiritual awakening, I was actually fasting a lot during that period too. I was just not eating near as much. I would live more along a liquid diet, and I would eat like one meal a day, and that did kind of, I guess maybe that was a part of the catalyst, right? But let me flip my camera around here. But yeah, like even once you realize, I mean, our God sent His Son Yahuwah, in His name Yahusha, right? And like once you utilize Strong's and coordinates and really like realize what was replaced where, the word Lord is a replacement for Yahusha. I mean Yahuwah, not Yahusha. Jesus is a representation for Jehovah saves, or Hova, right? And Hova literally means like not nothing good. Where is Hova? Where did I write Hova at? Hova is false name. It means ruin or destruction. That's what Hova means with this strong coordinate right here in the Bible. So when you look at Jehovah as being a false name, Jesus, Jehovah is salvation, it ends up being ruin or destruction. Even though we know the essence of Jesus Christ and His testimony is all pure and amazing, but we have to understand the truths of it and go back to the truth of His name, because His name is Yahuwah, is salvation, and Yahuwah means I am the Creator. The word Yahuwah is an opening and closing of a sound wave. That word, that name can be spoken perfectly with no wicked tongue. No wicked tongue whatsoever. You can leave the tongue laying dormant on the bottom of the mouth, and you can literally say Yahuwah perfectly without the use of the tongue. Say Jesus without the tongue. Literally, if your tongue was tied, stick it to the bottom of the mouth and try to say Jesus over and over. And think about being in front of the Lord, sitting there going, Jesus, 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 like you're going to be crying, trying to get it out of your mouth, and you can't because you done stuck your tongue.
Yahweh.
And even the W kind of messes up. Because you're just utilizing the mouth. You're utilizing the opening and closing of the extremities of the mouth, just like the ape does. Like literally, it's identical. Like, and people don't really realize, like even in DNA code, the numeric value of these letters in the Hebrew code even add up to DNA strands and how they're actually compiled and fused together. Like, bro, we got to bring it up. It's time to ascend, back to the divine. I mean, that's the whole purpose. What I try to tell people, if you're stuck on Jesus, then you haven't really went into your Creator. You haven't went to go learn Him. You stuck with society, and you was a Sunday hallelujah kind of person, and you thought it was all divine and great, but you didn't search for Him. If you search for Him, you will realize it's all set in code. Why are we even translating names? We don't translate names in this world. If I go to China right now, they're not going to translate my name. They're going to call me Jude. You know what I mean? Like, we don't translate names, but yet we translated our Lord and Savior's name. All right, so that's a mystery. Why'd you do that? It's easy. I'm going to go start checking my Creator out. Like, even whenever we're looking at the very beginning, and this is nothing to do with masculine, feminine. I'm not trying to bring any women down whatsoever. I'm just bringing down truths of how the negative plane affects the emotions, the sine wave, it affects the emotions of the human. The human emotion then causes you to make physical actions, right? Well, whenever you go back to the very beginning, whenever Eve was influenced by the negative emotion to take that action of taking from that tree, right? Well, let me see. Let me actually pull up the exact verse. All right, right here. And whenever she actually took from that tree and then gave Adam to eat, he even said, and the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly positive, negative compression. We're in the belly of the two bulges. And that shall thou go, and dust eat all of thy life, all the days of thy life. So us
Hey,
eating
Jude, go
dust is
back.
the representation
Jude,
of
go
us
back.
eating mineral salts. Those mineral
Jude, go
salts
back.
charge electrons.
Jude, go back. I think you paused. Go back to belly. Can you go back to belly because you paused? I don't want to miss what you're saying. You showed
Can you
us.
hear me any better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better. You showed us the intersection
Okay.
of the belly. Can you start from there?
Yes, and then the
Yeah.
same thing with the chakra system. Obviously, the belly is here at the heart, because we have 3 down, 3 up, where we have to kill off the negative, the fire, which we don't kill it off. We learn to control it because our creator is both masculine and feminine. He's both 1 and 0. It is a binary situation. It's a binary system. The eons of heaven just as big as the depths of Sheol. And he understood that in order to be divine positive, he must control the divine negative. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to get rid of it. It's not going anywhere. But what he can do is control it. And if you can control it, then the spirit lives on. But if you come over here and realize after he says, upon thy belly shall thy go, because it even says right here where it says, for God, doth know that in the days ye eat thereof, then your eyes, plural, eyes, number 5 right there, Genesis 3, number 5, your eyes, plural, which we know that's going to be a 5 sense, that's a 5 sense of deception in the physical form, shall be opened, and ye shall be as small g gods, knowing good and evil. Why? Because now we're small g gods. We're human form. We're in the fucking 7 orb chakra system, learning both aspects of good and evil with our eyes open, because now we're in physical form. Matthew 6:22. Thy body is, thy eye is thy lamp of the body, and if thy eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. Because it says eye, singular eye, not plural eyes. Right there, clear as day. And then the dust thou shalt eat for all of thy days of thy life. The dust is the mineral salts that we eat. Because everything we're eating, the reason why they put lead in most of our foods is because all that carbon is a bunch of dead junk that creates feces, and we just pass it through the body. If I ate a spoonful of some just some mineral salts that just charge my electrons, I'd be perfectly fine all day long, and I wouldn't need to make any waste to discharge, because I just need to charge electrons. I need to get the energy sources from the plane of existence. I need to get rest, and then I need mineral salts. And then I will have my electrons charged so I can continue every day. We have to chart. The electron is like when you go to quantum physics, down to the quantum layer of understanding, that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. But guess what that energy and frequency does? It affects the electron. The electron then starts spiraling based upon the frequency in which it's being manipulated by. And as it spirals, it changes the internal portion of it. So Eve, yet again on the atomic layer, Eve is manipulating Adam. Eve is manipulated by the plane of existence, by the waves that flow through, and then Eve will manipulate Adam. Same thing that happened in the beginning. Whenever Eve took heed to the sinful wave that flowed through her consciousness and decided to take that action, because she was influenced by the energy wave. She is influenced by the energy wave in the electron, which influences Adam. And as above, so below, as within, so without. And we don't realize that in the beginning, right here, off the rip, line 3. Let's go back to line 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form. Okay, so earth is actually just matter that is in void. It is not in form, because it's literally without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Because what did he do? He took and he compressed the divine positive energy of his energy spirit source and combined it with carbon matter in order to create life. Because right here, and then he moved upon the face of the waters, kinetic moving energy. He moved in front of the kinetic moving energy of the waters. And God said, people are losing right there. They need to realize that word is the first thing physical he did to the matter after creating it. Literally, he spoke a sound wave of energy. We have to get recharged with our energy in our body. I can spit energy out of my mouth in sound wave formation with the body. The body creates energy. The body puts out energy. We send sound wave. The birds wake up the plants. Like, people don't understand on the micro scale of his creation. But this is the first thing he did, physical. Let there be light, and there was light. This is not when he created the sun and the moon. This is whenever he created light within the carbon. This is whenever he created the physical, the spiritual within the matter. And this is the first form of light. That's why he goes on to talk about creating light like 4 different times, because as above, so below. As within, so without. Because he needs to describe everything 4 times, because it's a 4-step system. Like, it's not him repeating himself over and over and over in the Bible. No, we're looking at it from just a 1 5-sense perspective when we need to be looking at it from a 4-sense understanding of the divine creation. But I'll stop right there.
Oh, don't you dare stop. Let me bring you back down here. What? You are so amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I don't know what I'm here for, but I'm here for something. Because even breaking down the days of the month, man, like whenever I look at the days of the month, all right, we're supposed to have Monday, beginning of the week, Sunday, end of the week. Monday, beginning of the month, Sunday, end of the month. Monday, beginning of the year, Sunday, end of the year. That's a perfect creation by a perfect creator. Man, with the 5 senses of deception, has manipulated that concept. Because why? They viewed visually with the eye. Deception, right? So they seen the astral body slightly off tilt the dome. It's all God had to do. This is how simple God had to do to manipulate the human mind. He takes the dome, off tilt it. That's it. Let me step back and watch the 5 senses do all the work now. Because they observed the sun actually going through a different astral body a year later, right? So guess what? Somebody was like, oh my God, I observed that. I'm going to be the dumbass if I don't record it now, because such and such is going to get it and they're going to get the credit for it. I'm egotistical. I seen it. I'm going to record it. It's going to be my discovery, right? Now you're all entitled over an egotistical 5-sense deception, and you spread that to the world. And they created the Julian calendar, and they offset, and they got rid of the Gregorian, where they added 10 days to the month of March. Every philosopher puts Christ at being born on 9/11. That's why we call 911. That's why we're attacked on 9/11. That's why all of our pagan holidays are to spit on Christ's face, because the Romans built this place. Like, and they don't realize the true truths. But once you take those 10 days out of the equation, which were added because that was a manipulation by man, let's just bring it back to divine creator. All we got to do is take away man's manipulation, and you understand divine creation. Well, you bring it back to 9/1. He was born on 9/1. No, we start our month on the equinox in March. We don't start the month at the beginning of January. Let's bring it back 2 more months. All right. So now Christ is being born on 7/1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 disciples. Christ in the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 disciples away. Christ is in the dead center of his disciples. Christ is in the dead center of his year. Christ is born on 7/1 on his month, the month of Sol. He is the 7th month. And he is the first and the last. He is the first month to the next half. He's the last month to the first half. His birth date and birth month is the Alpha and the Omega. It is the Aleph and the Tav. He is the beginning and the end. And his son's birthday was born on the beginning and the end. And like, that's divine. And he was said to be born in 8 BC. Well, this is what really trips me up, because I didn't know any of this shit. Like literally, I tell everybody, 6 months time is where I've learned everything that I've learned. Man, drummer, I hate to tell you, but like, he was born in 8 BC, and I was born in 1992, 8 years before the new millennium. 7/1 on the true calendar, whenever you back our dates up, September 17th ends up being the first day of the 7th month. My birthday is September 17th. Like, and that means that if it all lines out right, that means I was born on the exact same day that Christ was born on, exactly 2,000 years later. And my mama all of a sudden didn't even have the name picked out and named me Christian Jude Michels, right? And that's like, that's just too much. Like that's the name of Michael, the angel. That's the name of Jude, Judah, Yehuda, to be praised. And then Christ, Christos, like the anointed. That's all very odd. And then to go through 4 other passages, one with the Bethlehem nuns and and Pope Gregory, and then the Rosicrucians, ancient mystic Masons, they all speak of a 7-month universal born child that is born universally at 7 months, picked by creation instead of it being natural the way everything else is. And I was born at 7 months. I was born premature, 2 months early. I was born at like 3 pounds. And then they say the person is then rebirthed during the ninth month. And then their older brother is brought forth. I lost my older brother a couple years ago. And then whenever I was, man, during the ninth month, which is 2 months after I was born, which I was only basically a term baby, but I was 2 months out the womb, my father found me straight up, face down in a pillow, black and blue, dead. And he literally preyed upon my body. He worked on me, worked on me, worked on me, could not get me to come back. And I rationalized his story down to the best way I could with every piece of logistics possible of ambulance, how far away, the dispatch time, when you called, your emotional state in that moment. And I factored out everything I possibly could by replaying their memories, because obviously I wasn't there 31 years ago. But I'm replaying their memories, right? And I come up with some staggering numbers of like almost 40 minutes with, like, it was 41 minutes with me being unobserved and potentially without breath. Well, I was like, well, that's impossible. And nothing's living, right? I was like, well, let's just bring that time in half. Because it started off as I didn't have any like person viewing me from 12 at lunchtime. And then my father found me at 12:45, but I didn't take a breath until like literally 1:11. After we broke everything down, it was like 1:11 is whenever I took a breath. I'm like, so, okay, 111. Oh, that's just interesting, right? And it's literally like on like 9/11 or 9/10, right in those days. I couldn't pull up the exact police report and like dispatch report to find out the exact day, but regardless, it's on the ninth month, like 10th or 11th day in which this occurred. And that's also odd, right? And my father ended up, after he worked on me, could not get me to come to life. He walks around praying with me in the palm of his hand, little 4-pound Jude, little small little infant baby, and praying with me on the palm of his hand, just hold me up. And he said that I took a breath. After all that time, black and blue. And he said I immediately corrected all my color and I began to even smile. And I wasn't even huffing and puffing like I was catching my breath back. It's like I was being literally born. And there's like 4 stories that literally speak of exactly that. The Secret Doctrine and the Stanza of Diane break it down perfectly. And I'm like, I never brought any attention to that growing up, man. I had a kid young. I had to get to work, and I thought, well, I was in a 5-sense body with everybody 5 senses, and I had to go create some physical stuff in order to be anything. So that's why I created multiple business genres, and I do a few million a year in revenue. And now I don't give a shit about it. Because it all like turns back, man. Like, of course I care about maintaining it for everybody. But I don't work like I used to work. I literally just let the systems that I've built work for me. And I just spend most of my time with divine research of truth. Why? Because I feel like that's truly my calling and what I'm here for. And that's just crazy. That's all I'm saying. I tell everybody, I was like, those are just crazy alignments. And then they also talk about this person being followed by the numerical value of 10. Because that's the divine mind. That's the divine creator's creation of 1 and 0. My birthday numerologically breaks down to 10 or 11 if you use the 1992, or if you don't use the 19. You get 10 or 11 no matter how you break it down. And then my social will break down to 10. My driver's license breaks down to 10. My passport number breaks down to 10. I was born exactly 181 days from the equinox. That breaks down to 10. Everything in my life has broken down like that's actually a number that actually matters. It numerologically breaks down to 10. I'm like, well, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know none, zero, zilch, none of it. Until 6 months ago as I started going through my understandings of God's divine creation. And then throughout my path, I ended up finding a lot of these personal relations to the creation. And I'm like, that's just crazy. I don't try to hold any entitlement. If anything, if he's got to use this vessel for something, it's nothing more than some flesh for his use. Because my spirit is ready to go. Like I'm ready to ascend on. Like this flesh means nothing. I'll go die for humanity right now because I will prove to everybody yet again, if it needs to be proven, that the flesh means nothing. The physical form means nothing. The 5 senses of this body is meant to delude you and keep you in this light matrix. And we need to realize that. It's time for ascension. Unless we realize that, we will not be the divine feminine, because the divine feminine is both masculine and feminine. It is the true angelic mind to activate the halo. And people just don't get it, man. They don't get it. That's why I'm glad we have great people out here like yourself and a handful of others that actually speak truth. They're actually speaking about spirituality. A lot of people say, oh, that's New Age. No, that's ancient age. If you think that that's New Age, then you don't even understand text. You haven't done any research whatsoever to understand that spirituality is ancient. And then you even talk about how the Hebrew God, and then look at Jews. Jews, as it's pronounced Jews, that's Yahuz. That's Yahuz people. And those are all the people of Israel, not the physical form of segregation between a different race of human body. You think a different race is more fucking important than another one? Absolutely not. It's all internal. The physical form, the five senses are meant to manipulate you and keep you away from the truth. The religion is supposed to give you another factor of egotistical, like, you're grabbed, you're hooked to something, right? And then you hold pridefully to it. Another factor of manipulation of the physical form. Like, people don't realize it's time for ascension spiritually. It's all internal. It has nothing to do with what you feel, taste, smell, or hear. Nothing at all. And it never will. And it ain't never going to be designed that way. Facts. I'll stop.
I'm shutting up. I'm just here in awe.
Well, it's what we're supposed to learn, man. I can't help it. It came to me. I just feel like I need to tell the people, man.
Somebody asked earlier, do you have your own lives, and what are some of the resources or books that you tap into? If you could share that.
Absolutely. Well, for one, this is the way I tell everybody. So our divine creator created everything perfectly. So we need to understand quantum physics. We need to understand astrology. We need to understand numerology. He speaks to us in numbers. He speaks to us through spirit. So whenever we happen to look at the time clock and it's 1010 or it's 1111 or it's 3333, we need to understand what he's trying to tell you with that simple little connection right there, because that's the only way he's going to touch you in the physical. He's not. He's going to give you a spiritual meaning inside the physical for you to be able to relate to. And if you don't have any wisdom on that topic, then you can't even relate. Then you just think it's just coincidence. And that word gets on my nerves, to be honest. Coincidence is one of the worst words for spiritual connection, because they're all like, oh, that's coincidence. That's coincidence. But after we have so many coincidences, I think we need to put a different terminology on the whole scenario, because we're leaving the area of coincidence whenever it all circles back to one grand understanding. And like, they don't understand that they put it all in front of our eyes too, because they had to put all the lies in front of everything. If you go watch that whole movie called The Three Body Problem, or the series Three Body Problem on Netflix, it's a newer series. And guess what? They put on these little things and they go into a game in which the game is super realistic, super 5 cents realistic. Everything goes with the body. So it's basically what we're living in right now. All right. So they're showing you by giving you a game. No, it's what we live in right now. That there's a three body problem. They never could figure it out. You know what the three body problem is? Your brain, your heart, your lower self. That is your three body problem, because why? Those all receive signals from this world. And we need to realize we control the bottom half, and then we ascend to the top half. So now we compress at our heart, and our heart is outputting these vibrations and making our Torah extremely profound and large. Because why? We're ascending spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And it's no longer going all the way back down to the root and being ran by sin. We are controlling sin and growing our divine, spiritual portion of it.
That's what's in Revelation in the Bible.
Absolutely. I mean, people don't realize what's all through the Bible. I mean, Jeremiah 9:14 literally says, you will follow after Baalim like your fathers taught you. Go look into Baalism. Go look into the 13 Black Orb Kabbalah. Go look and see how it creates. Let me flip this thing around. Go look and see how the 13 Black Orb Kabbalah literally creates a Star of David. Whenever you compress this two-dimensional figure and you flip it upon each other, then you get one three-dimensional Star of David, right? One three-dimensional Star of David, it shows a dodecahedron. A 12-sided shape fits in the center of those two triangle compressions. And like I know you've seen it in my video, which they ended up muted that video where I was showing people the sacred geometry with my little cube concept. They ended up muted that thing for some reason. I didn't even put any song with it, but it is what it is. But that creates the 13 black orbs. The reason why Taylor Swift is out here influencing all the women of the world and influencing them in women power, women power, women power. Well, that's another divine recreation of God's system that was natural. Because why? All we have to do is influence the women. If we can influence the women negatively, then it will affect the men. We already know this. This is proven in the very beginning of time, in the very beginning of creation. So as they influence the women to all think, because why? what 1% of the women are going to be super successful like that? The rest of them live in a household in a relationship where they need to be harmonized, not influenced by ignorance. We need to be harmonized with our significance, not deluded. Well, look at her new album, 31 songs, 13 backwards. Her station in my car is like station number 13, Taylor Swift station. She's all obsessed with the number 13. The M is the 13th letter in the English alphabet. The flag has 13 stripes for the 13 colonies on it. You know, it has a black box with the 5 senses trapped in the black box. 50. Do numerology. Drop the 0 off of it. You got your 5 trapped into a black box. That's our 5 senses trapped into the body. That's like every bit of it is they're putting it in front of our faces and showing us. Like everything with the 13, the reasons why all the Romans put all their hands as M's in front of all their portraits is because they're showing light manifestations, matrix. Whenever they created the hip-hop industry and they started influencing people on a large broadband scale, what did they do? Eminem. Eminem's name in it itself is a matrix in a matrix. You know what I'm saying? M in an M. You know what I mean? Because literally they are putting us in a physical matrix because they, as human beings, have realized that they can also manipulate the mind just as God did. So the devil, Demogorgon, the whole Kabbalah system of the Canaanites, where the Demogorgon reigns at the top, Bel, Murdoch, it's Baalism. That's why he's the Lord of Fortunes. And it even says in the Bible, I don't know the exact verse, where he talks about the old pagan gods will be brought back during the end times to reign over. Yeah, because those are the negative essence fucking satanic gods that get to reign over the physical world in order to build spiritual ascension. They're meant to destroy all this physical world and make you live in agony. So you can be spiritually risen because this system is created by God, both good and evil, for a reason. Every step of it's for a reason. The manipulation by other humans and other governing powers, all done by God. Every bit of it done by God. Good and bad. Why? He's binary. He's a perfect judgment. He understands that the good must exist to offset the bad. The good and the bad must exist to offset the good. It is a fact. It is a system in which he had to create stable in order for it to maintain longevity. And he is not going to go against what he created to maintain longevity. He will not waver. He will not bend down. He will not second guess. He is going to judge perfectly without any deception whatsoever. These are facts.
God, man, if I could bottle you and sell you, God. My God. Hey, I got to wind this down. It's 2 hours. Are you available tomorrow?
Yeah, man, I try to live on my time, which is spiritual time, and I try not to live on the Demogorgon's time. So I usually am pretty much available.
Okay, because I want you to come up again and I want you to share your journey, how you began this trek of discovering so much that resonates throughout the universe, actually. Describe that journey, and I'm sure a lot of us would be interested to hear that.
Absolutely. I'm more than willing. I mean, Tesla even said that our brains are not holding the information, that they are literally a receiver, and we receive the information from the divine cosmic. Once you activate the divine cosmic, the universal mind, then your memories will just start coming back to you. You're just remembering what you previously experienced in spirit. You're not learning new things. No, memories are flowing back in. And I feel like the reason why everything's compiled so quickly for me and the way I'm able to understand it so good is because it's more than likely previous memories that are just being recharged. And as soon as something hits, it's like, oh, duh, I already kind of know that. And it makes sense. It adds up to the spiritual concept of everything being oneness, everything coming from the one source. If you can activate and you can put your mind into the one source, and the one source will reveal previously known information. Even if you didn't experience it in your spiritual form, the fact is that spirit is still connected to the divine. So it's still relative information that can be accessed. And I believe, actually, I know, fuck that. Fuck the believe word. I know that shit is real. Facts. I'll stand on that to the day I'm out of here.
God, I love you, brother. Oh my God. Wow.
I love you too, brother. Every time I see you on, I'm just like, man, let me holler at this man. He's amazing.
No, you're amazing. No, I
We
just
all are.
read stuff.
We all are, man. Honestly, we are all amazing. And we need to all understand that within our internal selves that we're all amazing. Like, I promise that Christ, when he's here, he's not going to allow another man, regardless of where their mental state and where their spirituality is, bow in front of him. He won't allow it. He's going to want to lift them up. He's going to want to tell them they're just as good as he and build that spirit inside of them. Like, to think that you can sit down and bow, that means your physical form is less than my physical form. Absolutely not. You stand beside. You know what I'm saying? And that's the essence of what a divine creator, what true judgment is supposed to be. But, we just dice rolling things around here. Rolling them 6-sided cubes, baby. Roll them things. 7. Come on. Why do you want to get 7? 7 or 11? 7 or 11? Dang. Like, come on.
Hey, Jude, I need to take you to Vegas with me, man.
I'm telling you, all we got to do is manifest that we're going to win, and we know it. We speak it into the existence. We send some vibrations out, boy. Whew, we're going to make some of that God money so we can deliver the good message and live financially free.
So tomorrow I'm going to have you come up because you're going to share how this all began, okay?
Absolutely, man. What I see you usually get on pretty early. You get on around, 9, 8 o'clock in the morning usually?
I'm going to write this down. I'm going to hold you to it. Tomorrow I come on. Tomorrow. No, wait. Yeah, tomorrow. Why don't you come on at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Choo! That's early.
I'll have like an hour.
Let's do like 8:30. Are you going to be on for a couple hours?
Well, I promised my mom I'd take her out for a day tomorrow. So if tomorrow it doesn't work, let's do Friday morning at 7:30. Friday?
All right.
No.
All right. Well, look, if I'm on in the morning and I'm up and at 'em and I'm kicking and screaming, then I'm going to click on the app. If you're on there, I'll be more than happy to hop in and let's have that conversation.
Okay, so Friday, because I usually begin at 7:30 in the morning. And I'll start to do some reading or some sharing. And when I see you come up, then I'm going to pause and then we're going to have you come up.
Rosie said, yes, it's a date. All right. All right. That sounds good to me, man.
Wait, but before you go, everybody follow this man. This man is very spiritual, very insightful. I'm always blown away by him. So be sure to follow this man. And he does go live. Oh, somebody asked if you ever go live.
I have not. I've been kind of considering it, but I don't know. I just feel like my calling is to kind of jump in with the people that are already teaching the good word, or the people that aren't teaching the good word, to try to give them some correction and to find out if their egotistical mind's going to accept it or not. Most of them don't accept it. But the ones that are actually there spiritually are more than, they love to exchange wisdom, right? Well, that is the essence of being not egotistical and being open-minded to additional wisdom. And that essence of person is so rare in this time. That's why we're living in the wicked. That's why men are in bed with men. That's why women are in bed with women. That's why everything is being reverse engineered to act the opposite in which he created it to be divine and natural. And the world itself, see, we all understand that spiritual baptism is inside the system. It's spiritual. It is the Kundalini. It is literally, the water baptism from the sacred area. And we can go into extreme detail about that, and you understand that. So that is true baptism, not you getting dunked in some water. That is just silly, and that is not for the physical form. The world gets water baptism. The flood of Noah was the plane of existence gets physical water baptism. The spiritual self gets internal spiritual water baptism. And then the physical self gets also internal egotistical baptism by fire, because he will kill off your ego. He'll kill off your physical form by making you experience something terrible within the physical world to destroy your emotions, destroy what you once were, in order to reborn you again. That is truly being reborn. So you're going to be baptized spiritually by water. You're going to be baptized spiritually by fire. The world is already been baptized by water once physically. It will be baptized by fire physically during the end time. And we need to understand that and be prepared for it.
Let me throw this at you. Baptized, see, you said something very interesting. Now the placenta, or when we're in the mom's womb, we're actually in water. We're in a placenta of water. And when we emerge from the womb, being baptized in water is the body inside of the womb because it's inside of water, if you will. Being baptized in spirit, like you said, which I like the way you said it, is it's an inward baptism of spirit actually coming into you, thus lifting up the consciousness. Is that how you see it also?
I mean, yeah, I definitely understand the uterus, the same thing as a torus field, positive, negative field of compression. The woman has the uterus. So that uterus, yes, it has the waters, right? And you are being formed, both masculine and feminine energy are coming together in the uterus in order to form physical matter. We have created a recreation of what God did in the beginning and created all of it. We have inputted masculine, feminine energy together inside of a womb, a torus energy field, and we are creating matter inside that field. Unfortunately, it takes us 9 months in order to complete that creation, and God's a badass, and He did everything in like 7 days. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we just macros to the micro. You know, I mean, we're micros to the macro, so we can't do it all as good and all as fast as He. But absolutely.
Oh, I love you, man. Hey, I gotta wind this live down, or my wife's going to kill me. So I'm writing down on Friday morning around 7:30, Jude, to come up. So I got you on the calendar for Friday, okay?
All right, that's going to be a 10-4. And I seen Honeybee, or somebody was talking about joining Honeybee. She mentioned something to me a while back. Then I'll be more than happy. Send me a DM or something. I'll see when you go
time
live.
zone are you on?
I am in Central.
Okay, Central time zone. Okay, because I'm San Diego time. I'm Los Angeles. So yeah, I live in Carlsbad,
Wait, is that Mountain Time or is that
Pacific.
Okay, it is Pacific. Okay. So you're 2 hours after me. So oh wait, man, that'll be like 9:30 my time. That's vibes, dude. Oh yeah, I'll definitely be kicking and screaming at 9:30.
Yeah, Rosie, I'm Pacific. I live in Carlsbad, California, 20 miles north of San Diego.
I lived in Cali for about a year. I lived in Fresno, up in a little south of Fresno in the valley.
Okay.
It's actually where I lost my brother. I lost my brother out there in Cali. He's got in a motorcycle accident on the way to work one morning, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
that stuff. But I understand God's system of His soul system. So He's actually done. He's been able to exit the five sense physical, and He's been able to experience in another thing in which His spirit was supposed to experience. So I don't even hold anything sorry to that. Whenever someone tells me they're sorry about a death, no, absolutely not. No, that spirit now gets to go to the next step of their ascension. Like, why even be upset about the death? It's divine. It's actually meant. It's picked. It's chosen. Like, if we were taught these type of teachings, we wouldn't even be upset about death. I could even watch my child, how terrible a child loss is to a parent. Think about understanding God's soul system instead of this gibberish solar system, and being able to know that your child was just picked to be evolved into the next form. It's a Pokemon, right? We're being evolved into the next form, right? Well, that's what we need to understand. And then that would help us take grief. It'll help us control the emotion of this world. With these teachings, the emotions of this world swirl in the palm of our hands. And we control it. Like, that is divine. Or we can stand back and not know nothing and allow those emotions to control us and control everything that we do and keep us trapped in these physical forms. That's not it. It ain't never going to be it. That will never fix the situation. That'll never bring us to global evolution. It will not. It cannot, and God knows that. He created it that way.
Beautiful, man. Hey, lovely. I'm going to download this video and I'll upload it to Tube. I'll finally do that. Okay, because I'm getting messages from people saying, hey, you have to upload these videos. So I'm going to download this video. Okay, my friend. I will see you Friday, okay?
Absolutely, man. Take it easy.
All right, love you, brother.
Big M's, big M's, big M's. Hold it down.
Big M. Wow. God, whenever he comes up here, I just want to sit back and absorb. Thanks for the hat, Roman. Lovely says, what, his name is Christian. I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but I'm now going to make one just for you, lovely Lindsay, and I'm going to upload it. Okay, he goes by Jude, so call him Jude. Yeah, see, he just, see, this is an example of somebody who has not only spiritually evolved, but has carried it over into this lifetime, and he tapped into that again, and he's now continuing his upward evolutionary trajectory back to spirit. Jude carried over. He carried everything he shared with us. He has known from a previous life. He had to have. He had to have. He's done a lot of work on himself. He's done a lot of work on himself, to be able to not only share what he shared, which is phenomenal, but I know what he shared came from his intuition because he developed it. He worked on it for so many lives. So many lifetimes he's worked on that. And that's why it's always a pleasure to have him come up here. I can't wait for him to come up here on Friday to share how this whole thing first came about. Okay? So that's going to be a beautiful live. Okay, I do have to wind down. Moderators, thank you. Honeybee and Darren, thank you. Thank you always for helping out with these lives. Thank you to my beautiful wife who allows me to have these lives. For my sister Lindsay, I'm going to download this video and I'm going to shoot that up there, and I'll send you a message, or I'll just I'll try to create the live name SRF Kriabon _drummer. I'll try to create it that way so you guys are able to search on that if you want to find it. So SRF, go to my profile, my actual username, not a drummer, but the @ SRF Kriabon _drummer. That's what I'm going to name the YouTube. And from now on, I'm going to start to upload these videos. And I'm going to upload this one that we just had so you guys can replay it for Christian, because he's phenomenal. Okay? Moderators, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being in this live. This live couldn't be the way it is without you all participating in this live, because I resonate from your beautiful energy. Hi, Ginger. And so, anyway, I love everybody. God bless everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow for a brief moment, but then I'll see you Friday. Okay? God bless you all. Love you too.